Vienna, and yeah, we started in 1992 programming software for the printing industry, and we are now in many European countries. Unfortunately, we don't have a customer in Romania, so we had, it was Goldman, one of the biggest printer in Austria, but unfortunately they ran bankrupt. That was, yeah, so they also stopped their activities in Romania. We now have the biggest printer in Austria. That is one of the biggest. It is Niederösterreichisches Pressehaus. They have around 220 employees in the printing house, and they use all the modules in their company. And that is, we will show all parts of the software today, but it's a modular system. So it's not that you are over equipped afterwards. The system can be adapted to your needs. And compared to this company in Austria, one of our customers located in Belgium. It's a very efficient company, it's Moderna, and yeah, from the machine side they have almost the same like Niederösterreichisches Pressehaus, but it's an owner-driven company, and of course in that case you have less middle management, because you can decide directly, but they also use all the modules, and they have around 100 employees, 90. So it's not only the software, but what is the idea behind to have a system that optimizes all parts of the company, yeah, of course, to be more efficient and lean. So one of the important things is to estimate your print products, but it's not only this calculation, it's also the idea to save manual input. You have different systems in-house. One is an interface of the machine where you see the speed and so on, but right now it's separate systems. So you type in maybe in Excel or in your estimation system data, and if you need it in pre-press, or if you want to see data at the machine, you have a separate input. This, what we show here, means one input and handle data exchange between the different modules from different vendors. And one part is the part of the machines, and the other part is the material, the paper. So what we also try to optimize is the handling of the material coming to the factory and in-house. So to know, here is a pallet of paper, what is in it? I bought it, you can scan it then, look on your scanner and see, half a year it comes out of this order, just to reduce waste. One of the cost drivers are the people, and the other cost drivers is the material. So, and that's why we programmed a solution for this logistic. So we handle the different parts. That is one database, but different user interfaces to drive the software. So we have the modules, the management information system that handles order management, customer, paper, basic reports. We have a web portal you can use for web shop or communication with partners to bring in structured articles that an agency, maybe in your country or from abroad, they select, we need 10,000 flyers, A5, this grammage, and out of this we describe the workflow for the production, and for those products you can reduce the overhead. If it comes to an order, we use a planning board for visualizing how is the capacity used, is there any free capacity to take a job in. That's a separate surface. And from the production back, we have a data collection option. You can do it by I press a button and start a job, or we can combine it with activities from machines. You say, aha, now machine is running, this JMF messages. Or with connector boxes, we say, okay, I know there is one good sheet, and we count the sheets, and you set an active planning card, and now you know I collect the data for this job. So what we do is we analyze the processes in the companies, and then we decide how to prepare the modules to use it in your existing workflow. So we can start from, let's say, CRM functionality, how to support the sales with activity list, reminders, you made an offer, now you should call the customer to give us reports. I have 200 potential customers in my portfolio, but you can then analyze, they make their turnaround with 30, so 170 are free for further work from sales side. So this is the part where we see the CRM functionality, the offer, where we have very fast ways to supply the sales with information. And out of the order description, we have a connection to the purchase department. So in your order you have now a real material you need to use for this special job, and then you can decide what is the quantity in stock, or do I have to do a fill-in order, and the communication, purchase department, we need this material for this job at that time. That is by an information during this, you see here, this process documentation or change log means you don't have to send him an email or run in this department. depending of the status in the software of one job or of different jobs, he got a reminder, here is a request for a material, they need it until next Wednesday. And so the task is on that side. And then the work order is described. Now we make a printout and give it in the production. We thought it's better to have a direct communication because there are a lot of last-minute changes. I need another production date. Can you change the material? Less pages, whatever. So the back office in this situation is forced to take care. Will we work on the right work order and so on? And what we see here is, as soon as the job is in-house, we put it in the planning board. And out of the planning board, you can see the work order. So if there are changes, you give information by this changelog or process documentation to the production manager, to the salesperson, whatever. You know, let's say, if I open 1 hour before print starts the electronic work order, these changes are realized by the people in the production. That is the idea. To avoid paper printouts, of course you can print out, but to have just-in-time information on the machine, at the machine. Yeah. And if I want to integrate the messages out of the production, to have the right post calculation, and to update the situation in the production plan. So you will see the production plan is not only planning of capacity, it's the communication system in the whole company. So if the sales has a view on the planning board and wants to ask for tomorrow I need capacity for, and you say, 24 hours completely booked. So it's not necessary to phone and ask and talk about that because it's impossible, we are completely full. If the customer calls, where is my job, will you be in time? Then you will see the color of the planning cards give you information about the production status, for instance. And you see, even the secretary can give the answer. Yellow means it's right now in the press, so I think we will have the right delivery date. So all this could be done manually by booking times on the different production jobs with shop floor data collection. It could be done by typing in manually written sheets out of the production. If you say at that place it's not necessary to have an electronic system, but at the end I want to know estimation time is this and estimated costs are. What is the reality?
The question is, over the web portal, the customer can calculate by himself his job?
It is that in most of the customers give them prepared price lists for the web, so he can use out of this his own estimation for his products. Yes. Yeah. Also, you have to complete paper tracing, what I mentioned before. You can check what comes in the company. You can do it by scanning the pallets or the reels, and you can follow the half-ready products, and you know what pallet of ready products leave the company with what delivery note. I know there are no complaints, but if complaints occurs, we have the option to handle it in the system. So if you create a new order or a new job in the back office, then you get information, oh, there is an existing complaint. Then this guy can check what happened. Is it solved? Is there still something open? And then you can follow up. Who is responsible? What are the costs? What can we do? So you get an information, this customer always complains because they want to reduce price, or information about, we have a weak point here in our workflow. There always are troubles. That is just to follow internal and external complaints. The order management. Of course, we have the CRM functionality. Out of an offer, we can set reminders for us a person. So if I'm the job or estimate house, I set a reminder for my salesperson, and then he can follow the jobs. Yeah. I mentioned before the web portal, where you can use communication with your sales, with partners, even with third-party workers, to check where is the situation, what jobs do we have for you. And you can use it as a web shop, B2B or B2C, that depends. Yeah. Then the estimation, it's fast, and you have different methods. You can use imposition, and all these results you can export to the production. And we have a document management system. The idea is you have an electronic folder. On one hand, you store the created documents out of the system. That is the second version of an offer, now the order confirmation. And you also can hook emails or descriptions you prepared in Word, and you have it directly available at customer record or at a special offer or order. So you have organized document management for not holiday greetings, but all reliable and essential informations to a job or to a customer. The purchasing out of the system, and what we heard before, documents. The calculation, sorry for the color, but the basis is a catalog with the machine data. So we will see it afterwards. We have, for the different printing methods, sheet fed, web, digital, flexo, whatever, a category of machines, and in these machines we have the values of speed and the influence of grammage, and so that is the basis to describe a product. And then depending on, I use this material, I have this print run, we know that job needs 1 hour on this machine, and in the cost center we have the information, and the costs for 1 hour are this. And so the idea is not only to estimate a price, what we want to have if it comes to an order, that we have the realistic production time, because that is the basic for the planning. Yeah, and this machine catalog and machine data, it is in your hand. So if you realize after a while, we estimate not enough time for this production step, then you can adjust. And so you come closer and closer. That is not the price you sell the product, that is another point. You can do your pricing independent from this influence out of the value catalog. But what we do is we estimate the complete costs, and then you see, my sales can only cover 40% of these costs or 50% of these costs. Because if you get this job, you have to have the realistic costs per job. And the system learns during you use the system. That is, if we introduce, so you will create templates for the products you get from your customers. So that is not a fixed program situation. You can decide, I do posters, and for posters I need print run and color and paper. That's enough for me. 3 inputs, and the system should create the complete estimation. And with that, you can define your optimal production way. You say, okay, this is my machine situation, up to this print run on this machine, and if it's more, then use our 700, 1000. And that's where you can bring new colleagues very fast in the thinking of the company. So if you estimate manually and you have 10 estimators, you have 10 different results maybe, because I see it in this way, in that way. And here you have a possibility to prepare your idea for this. And you see, okay, you see it not so good like me, but you can see here we have a product, and a product can consist of product parts. If I have a brochure, then one product part could be a cover, and the second product part is the inside. So you are free to create the structure of these products. And one product part consists of sheets, printed sheets, and on a sheet you have the working steps like printing. Directly connected with printing is CDP. So you define the output value catalog and say, if I print on this machine, whatever it is, we need this size of plates, and depending from the number of colors, and if it's work and turn or work and tumble, the system knows I need 4 plates, 8 plates. And so you describe the steps you need for this product, and then you say, oh, I have to cut, and all these steps comes out of the output value catalog. And depending on material, grammage and quality, quantity you produce, we know, this needs 1 hour, 2 hours, and so we create the product description, very exact, and get the price out of it. To describe the sheets, we use the imposition. So it depends. You say, okay, I have my 16 page, then we have the 16 page on one printed sheet, or I have single ups, so the system, so I have so many in this row and this in the column, and you have the influence of color bar, of print-free rooms. The idea is first for the estimation to estimate the right paper size. So if you say I will stitch it afterwards, then you have parameters. Oh, I need for the head this millimeter, I have this distance for cutting, and so to avoid mistakes, to estimate with the right paper. But at the end, these templates are the basic for a prepress. So if you integrate it and it comes to a job, you send by so-called stripping params the information out of the job management directly in the prepress. So the documents you can add to jobs or customers. Here you will see a preview of what is added, and you can search in these documents by keywords.
I think that will show the program.
Yeah, that is better.
Because they cannot see the pictures.
Ah, okay. Yeah. From the CRM side, it's possible to do campaigns. That means advertising for your customers. We now print cheap A4 folders or whatever, and you can control the answers. To set reminders, to-do lists, and if you use it, you can exchange data with Outlook. From a view from the web portal, so this is for the internal use. So you have the option to log in, and then you see what are the offers I did. Here is a flyer, I have to call the customer. A reminder, oh, I'm late here, I should call this customer urgently. So the idea is this, the information you get out of the database to have it available if you are out at customer side. It's not necessary that you fill in during your interview your customer to get a job, but if you go back in the car, then prepare for the next or type in the information you received from your customer. And that is also that you have types of, let's say, standard products. What happens? The sales call in-house and say, I heard from my customer, we need an offer and blah blah. You hear and waste time, write down, and then you type it in the system. For these standards, it's also possible to say, flyer, A5, this quantity, and I send it electronically in the company to reduce the overhead.
The question is for the campaign conducted, if they can select a certain kind of customers for a certain kind of advertisement
Yes.
campaign.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Then we fill in a lot of data, and of course we would want to have some information out of this. So we have the option for a business intelligence module, and the idea behind this is you have questions that needs more than the reports we supply with the standard of this product, because you say, yeah, it's interesting, but I want to combine this zip code with this product group and the shoe size of a salesperson, whatever. So for that you would need a lot of individual programming or reporting. And so in this business intelligence cube, we supply you with the key performance indicators. So the basis for our standard reports, and you have this data available in, let's say, Excel pivot tables. And then you are able to filter and select and combine. It's not like that, we know that, but if I have the need to data mine by myself to get information for a controller, this is a very efficient tool. And if now is the status, we got the job in-house, then we give it in the planning board. What is the idea of the planning board? If we started to program electronic planning boards, we found in the companies these big wall boards where you cut the cards. You say, on the card I write, this is the customer, this is the job name, the print run, and the length of one card gives the information how long will the job block this machine. And you see, you have here the timeline, and you have the machines, the different production units. And out of the estimation, we get the structure, the workflow. Okay, I first have to produce the cover, then the inside, print the cover, cut the cover, produce the inside, and if all is ready, then I can start stitching. So if you click on one card, you get the information, here it's on this machine, here it's another part of the job, and here is the final working step. So you have the complete view of the production steps and the status of the job on the different machines. And we have the information on the cards. That is, the idea is you don't have to go in the depths in a table to look what happens with this part of a job. Because you have, let's say, different colors. If the job comes in-house, the documents are missing, the paper is not here, it has the color, whatever, blue. Then we start, we get the information, and for that we can use text on the card, we can use flags. Customer comes, I have the head of a people on it, or this has to be cut, okay, I give a scissor on it. The customer released the job, I can use frames, for instance. And the color. So if the documents arrive, give a flag on it. The plates are ready, okay, change from blue to green, because now I can produce. If you decide I want also to have the paper handling, and I say, transport the paper to the machine, and I can say, plates ready and paper at the machine, this job is now ready for production. And it's not only for the planner, this information is for all persons in the company. So, and we will see it later, from every planning card the production is able to open the work order. So what I mentioned before, now we make a printout and there is a cut between back office and production. You say, these are the jobs you have to do today. Here we have the interaction, the planning board is the communication view, and I say, this is my next job. Right click and I open the work order and see, this is the last information and confirmed for this job. Yeah. And to give information about the status, that could be, okay, we connect machine interface and so on, but it's also possible to start simple. I'm in the producer on this machine and I say, okay, now I start with this job. The planner is able to move and change the following of jobs. But not everybody, it depends on the user rights. But I can say, if you start this job on this machine, give me information, change the status. And that is easy. I say, okay, status is now started. So it's okay. Here the color is green, you're ready for production. And now I say, okay, I click on it and say, now I start. And so the color change to the next status. And on all planning boards you have open in the company, after a while you get an update of the view and you see, this job is now in the machine. And so we have a very good visualization of what happens in the production. And so the planner see what jobs are released from the job managers. These are the next jobs I have to fill in my planning board. So that also is a combination where you have direct access to the information of the job managers. So it's not necessary to come all the time together and say, from this job, this is here, we cut the card, we put it in. It's separate. You are on your working place, say, I have all documents, I inform the production. Zack. And here you get the information, this poster is here, what is the delivery date, what is the quantity, and then, here's the free space, I put it in. Yeah, so you also get detailed information, the deadlines that are preset. The material should be here on 17th. I start pre-press. These are the working steps and the setup time, the run time, the quantity. So all the detailed information on a job is available on one click. And that's what we discussed before. So you see the different states of the jobs on the machine. If there is a conflict, let's say with a following working step, then you get an information, for instance, this K. If there is a conflict with delivery date, you get a more impressive information. And you say, that means if now, from now on, I would produce in the most efficient way, I run in troubles, it's not possible to produce it at the right time. And then you have to find a solution. Maybe you split a card and produce on a second unit, or you call the customer. The advantage is you realize not after production you realize earlier, here we run in troubles, so call the customer and give him this information. It's better than in the last minute, oh sorry, it didn't work. And we see we have access to information out of the planning board in the estimation. We have it in the pre-press, we have it in the post-press, we have it in the print room, and we can use it for process documentation. That is, if something happens, we get information, here is a change. Now, please tell me what happened. Machine is down because a scratch on the blades or whatever. So it is the information available for connected places or managers without phone call. Of course, if he's stuck in production, maybe you will call him what happened, but the information is transported back, and if there is a breakdown, then a card with problem starts. So you know, I have a delay of 2 hours. Then the cards move these 2 hours in front. And you see, that will be a conflict with the next working step, with deadline, whatever. And then the handling, solution for these problems has to start. Then the integration, we saw it before, data filled in the MIS, and if I want to have a workflow through connected systems, we use the data we filled in one time. It could be, let's say, a system from the printing machine. It's not necessary to type it again. That means you can send it by JDF. And also the messages out of connected systems we want to have in the post-press afterwards. From the JDF side. And you see the integration, for instance, of the pre-press. That is, if we use the templates in the job description, then it's not necessary to do the layout again in the pre-press department. So then I have to fill in the pictures. But the layout is out of the job management. The information out of the press, like we can get speed, quantities, and if the machine has a connection by JDF, JMF, then we can receive these messages. If it's not JDF, then we can connect by shop floor. This data collection, we say, okay, start and stop. Or we can add connectors where we get information from an electronic impulse. This is a good sheet and whatever. And out of this, we can change the status in the plan. So what I mentioned before, it could be done by the worker itself, I start now, or we can use the messages out of the connected machines and machine interfaces. Okay, so we create bookings and have all these data available in the MIS system, and out of this we can create the reports. If I do manual bookings, then I have a monitor at the machine, and I identify I am this guy on this cost center, and I start Then I select make ready or print, that depends. And then I see what are my last bookings and the time I booked. So it's accompanying my work by confirm what I do next. And this is booked in my production order, and then I know, he is right now make ready job number 24. This quantity, there were problems. So these are the manual bookings you can do very easy. And if I'm connected to the machine, so I have the information, that's the view for the worker, to produce this quantity in total. The rest is this. What is the job number? I have 50%. What is the waste? What is the speed right now? What is the actual status? So this is the information, what is the machine booking for me. And yeah, if I'm, let's say, the production manager or the planner, then I have a cockpit. Okay, the most important thing we see, I have the machine and the actual speed. So you see for, let's say this is different views, that is my printing machines. This is running 38,000, this is running 30,000, this 2,300, and this R700, 6,300. And here you get the information, what is the status? This is running, this is set form change. And the same what we saw before, I have to produce, is here. I need this quantity, I already produced this. The planned start was, I don't know, let's say 8 o'clock. The real start was 8:20. The average speed is, let's say, 35,000. So the estimated end will be 12 o'clock. So compared to the plan, I realize, I will be late. So you get the information. Here is the information, what is the speed I have to go, or what is the speed out of the plan, because you say I need 2 hours if the machine run average 10,000 or 15,000, whatever. And here we see, okay, they are behind the plan, but for all the machines, you see the active job, and so you have the information what happens in the production room. Okay, and if we need the paper handling, then we use this logistics module, and in the logistics module we have the handling of our raw material we receive at the entrance of the company. We trace the paper. Let's say, okay, if I scan the pallet and scan it to a place, then I automatically have the booking, 10,000 sheets of this material additional in stock right now. You see, we have a layout. These are maybe stocks, and if we search material,
Dacă dăm un search, o căutare după un anumit cod de material,
we say this is Royal Roto Gloss, 170 gram. Then it says, it is on this place and on this place, and you get the information by blinking. See, it's in this stock here. And the entrance is you have a purchase number on your purchase order you send to your supplier. You say, I deliver now this number. You put it in your barcode pistol. You see, I have article Royal Rotogloss, and then you scan the palette, and then you scan to the place, and you know from that time on this palette is out of this delivery from this purchase. And on the other side, this is the flow. White paper or color comes in the company. If you now say, okay, for the next job in the planning board, please bring the paper, you can send a transport order to this stock, and he says, I drive to place P32, scan the palette, drive to the machine, scan it in the machine in place. Okay. So these are these scanners, for instance, and the booking in the machine means I use this material now. And so I know for this job I used this paper. And if you have rest, then maybe with the counter of the machine, or you measure that is the rest I have on the palette. You gave the same palette code on it and book it back in the stock. And for the next job you need the same material. The system can give the proposal, first the rest and then new palette. And of course, if you follow half-ready products, you say, out of the machine I get the printed sheets. The next station is the folding machine, for instance. So I say, okay, a barcode label for this printed sheet palette, and if you scan it, you know, it belongs to this job. Next production unit is cutting or folding, so you can also follow the half-ready product. Okay, so now the goals again: avoid redundant inputs, have a good flow of data, and the second is follow the material and try to reduce waste of material.
Cele două beneficii ale acestui sistem sunt urmărirea pașilor de producție și urmărirea parcursului materialelor pentru livrare la timp.
Okay. What we mentioned before, avoid errors and avoid redundant data input.
Da.
Okay, so we think we have the first step.
Da.